Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size, but when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, in the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the cure of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That's me. Maya Angelou. Welcome to the Women of Influence podcast series celebrating Women's History Month. March is Women's History Month, a time to honor the incredible women who paved the path for us. International Women's Day is March 8th, and it's significant in that it recognizes women's achievements worldwide. Today's episode is inspired by an amazing woman, a phenomenal woman, Maya Angelou, and her phenomenal women and also in Still I Rise poems. We're reflecting on women who came before us, the lessons they left, and how we carry their legacy forward. This is a celebration, a tribute, and an empowering session. If you've ever doubted your strength, remember this. You come from a lineage of powerful women who never gave up, and neither will you. Maya Angelou, as a poet, activist, and storyteller, was someone who always sought to lift women up. If you think about the trauma she overcame, the racism, the hardships, yet she continued to rise. Her life itself was a statement to resilience and self-worth. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. That's a piece of her poem, Phenomenal Woman. And it teaches us that women don't need to have external validation to be powerful. Confidence is not about looks or even status. It's about knowing who you are. Maya's words challenge traditional beauty standards, and it reminds us that we define our own power. What does being a phenomenal woman mean to you? Women's History Month is about recognizing the women who fought, sacrificed, and led the way. When we think of women like Sojourner Truth, she spoke out against slavery and fought for women's rights. Her famous speech, "Ain't I a Woman?" still echoes today. Harriet Tubman, she led hundreds to freedom through the Underground Railroad. Her courage reminds us that one person can change lives. Madam C.J. Walker, the first self-made Black female millionaire. She proved that women could be innovators and business leaders. Rosa Parks, she took a stand by staying seated. Her quiet strength ignited a movement. Shirley Chisholm, she was the first Black woman elected to Congress, unbought and unbossed. She shattered political barriers. There are some amazing modern day women. Michelle Obama, she's a leader in education, wellness, and women's empowerment. Oprah Winfrey redefined storytelling and representation in media. These women did not wait for permission. They created change. And the question for you is, how can we honor their sacrifices? When we think about the message of "And Still I Rise" from the poem from Maya Angelou, I want to share some thoughts with you about that poem. The world may try to push women down, but we rise anyway. Women throughout history have faced opposition, yet they have persevered. And this poem truly is a declaration of self-worth and unshakable confidence. And you may be asking, why is this message important today? Women continue to fight for equality in pay, leadership, and representation. We all face personal challenges, but resilience allows us to overcome them. When we think of Serena Williams, current day, she faced criticism, but she still managed to dominate in tennis and business. Tarana Burke. She's the founder of the Me Too movement, and she helped amplify women's voices, and she continues to help amplify our voices. Kamala Harris, the first female U.S. vice president, and she is breaking political barriers. No matter what obstacles we face, we have the power to rise above them. Who are the women in your life that have risen against challenges? See, women's voices are powerful. Throughout history, change has happened because women refused to be silent. When we think of Greta Thunberg, she speaks up for climate change action. Stacey Abrams, she advocates for voting rights and democracy. Brene Brown, she uses research and storytelling to encourage vulnerability and courage. How can you use your voice? At work, you can advocate for equal pay, fair treatment, and leadership opportunities. In your community, you can support women-owned businesses, mentor young women, and participate in activism. On social media, you can share stories of women's achievements and raise awareness. Women before us fought to have a seat at the table. Now that we are here, how will we use our voices? We have to speak up, we have to support each other, and we have to keep on rising. How we keep rising is the question. And I challenge you. Sharing a story of a phenomenal woman who has influenced your life is a way that we keep the conversation going. You want to post about women in history who inspire you using hashtags like phenomenal women rise, we win together, women winning together. There are so many ways that you can take action. You want to support women-led initiatives and businesses. You want to be a mentor or a sponsor for the next generation of women leaders. You want to continue to learn from and honor the women before us. We are phenomenal because of the women who came before us. We honor them by rising together. Remember this portion of And Still I Rise. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream, I am the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. As we celebrate Women's History Month, it's not just about reflection, but it's also about action. I want to encourage you to share this episode with women who inspire you. On the next episode of the Women of Influence series, we talk to a phenomenal woman and we celebrate their journey. We keep rising, we keep influencing, and we keep making history together. I created this series because I know we need to hear from women who have walked through fire and made it out stronger. Not perfect women, but women with wisdom, women who show up despite the obstacles. I think about a Bible verse from the book of Psalms that says, "Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty." Dwelling means staying connected. How do we do this in real life? Through prayer, through stillness, through journaling, and simply calling on God when overwhelmed. And women of influence understand the importance of having faith to overcome challenges and obstacles. See, life can feel a bit like a battlefield, and mental battles, financial struggles, emotional wounds. But in that, we know by faith that God is covering us. Women of influence, They focus on their abilities to be the change. This is why I do this work, because we need to see examples of women who keep showing up for their families, their businesses, their communities, and most importantly, they show up from themselves, but they do it with faith. The thought of overcoming, this refers to victory over trials, over doubts, and over opposition, whether internal or external. And the ultimate victory comes from faith. With the word of their testimony, they're sharing personal journey, struggles, and victories, and how they serve as sources of inspiration, encouragement, and even transformation for themselves and others. True influence and impact require courage, resilience, and a willingness to stand firm in your truth. Women of influence are often trailblazers who have overcome personal, societal, or professional challenges. Their testimonies, their life experiences, their wisdom, and their lessons become sources of inspiration for others. And this is why it's so important at this time that we tell these stories of resilience and leadership. Women who have faced adversity share their journey and empower others to rise, believing in themselves and knowing that you can push forward in these difficult times. In today's world, authenticity truly wins, and women of influence who openly share their stories, their failures, their wins, and everything in between, they create deeper connections with the audience. And that is the goal of this series. It's time for us to have deeper connections as women. It's time for us to rise and to be that beacon of light in this world that feels so dark and so heavy. So, just as overcoming comes through the word of testimony, women of influence help other women find their voice, build confidence, and step into their purpose. In this series, each guest's testimony serves as an overcoming story that not only cements their own legacy, but also lights the path for others to follow. Their words hold power, shaping the next generation of women leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers. And I am so excited for you to hear these powerful stories that have brought me personally so much joy. And I know they will help to heal some wounds. They will help to inspire you. They will help to encourage you. And hopefully, they will push you to take action in your own unique way, your own authentic way to be the change in your community and in this world.